What happened to the Romanovs? We know they were executed. Or do we?
In the summer of 1918, the once mighty Tsar Nicholas II and his family vanished into a cellar in Yekaterinburg. And what happened next remains one of the most haunting mysteries of modern history.
A hail of bullets, screams, then silence.
But when the dust settled, not all the bodies were accounted for. Did Anastasia really die that night? What about Alexei? Could they have escaped the Bolshevik bullets?
Welcome back to The Curious Past. I'm Danny.
And I'm Shan. Today we're diving into the final tragic days of the Russian Empire. A story of power, revolution, betrayal, and one of the greatest royal whodunits of all time. For over 3 centuries, the Romanov dynasty ruled Russia with an iron hand. They were a family of immense power, unimaginable wealth, and profound privilege.
But that golden era rested on a crumbling foundation. Poverty, unrest, and a society on the brink. And at the center of it all was a man wholly unprepared for what was coming, Tsar Nicholas II.
His reign from 1894 to 1917 was a slow-motion collapse. It began with the Kudinka tragedy, a stampede at his coronation that killed over 1,300 people, a grim omen of things to come.
Nicholas resisted reform at every turn. As Russia industrialized, strikes and protests erupted. Humiliating losses in the Russo-Japanese War and later World War I devastated morale.
And inside the palace walls another crisis brewed. The influence of Grigory Rasputin, a mystic favored by the Tsarina for helping their hemophiliac son, Alexei, sparked outrage across Russia.
By 1917, revolution erupted. In March, under immense pressure, Nicholas abdicated the throne, ending 3 centuries of Romanov rule. The family was placed under house arrest, first in relative comfort, then in increasing isolation.
After the October Revolution, the Bolsheviks seized power, and the Romanovs became dangerous symbols of the old regime.
On the night of July 16, 1918, Nicholas, Alexandra, their daughters Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, their son Alexei, and 4 loyal attendants were told to get dressed and led to a basement in the Ipatiev house.
They were told a photo would be taken to prove their safety. Instead, Bolshevik commander Yakovyarovsky read a short sentence: "Your relatives have tried to save you. They have failed. You must die."
The guards opened fire, but the execution was not quick. Hidden beneath their dresses, the Romanov daughters wore corsets sewn with diamonds, an attempt to smuggle their wealth.
The jewels acted like makeshift armor, deflecting bullets.
The guards resorted to bayonets and point-blank shots to finish the job. The bodies were burned, disfigured with acid, and buried in 2 different graves in a nearby forest.
The Bolsheviks' motive was clear: to ensure no one could find the remains, and that no symbol of the Tsarist past could ever be rallied around.
The regime officially announced that only the Tsar had been executed, keeping the deaths of the rest of the family a secret.
Publicly, the Bolsheviks claimed only Nicholas had been executed. The rest of the family, they said, were being moved. With that, the seeds of a mystery were sown.
Whispers spread across Europe. Had one of the Romanov children survived?
And one name echoed louder than the rest: Anastasia.
The youngest, Romanov daughter, was beloved for her playful, spirited nature. The idea of a lost princess captured the world's imagination.
In 1920, a woman was pulled from a canal in Berlin after a failed suicide attempt. She refused to give her name. Later, she claimed to be none other than Anastasia Romanov.
The woman called herself Anna Anderson. She bore a striking resemblance to Anastasia and had detailed knowledge of the Romanov family's private life. She even spoke with a slight German accent, just as the Grand Duchess had.
Some surviving Romanov relatives dismissed her as a fraud, but others, including Anastasia's aunt, believed her.
Anderson became a sensation. Books were written. Films were made. She spent decades in court trying to prove her royal identity, but no verdict was ever reached.
For over 60 years, the world was captivated. Was she an imposter or the last living Romanov?
Then, in 1991, everything changed.
As the Soviet Union collapsed, a shallow grave was discovered near Yekaterinburg. Inside were the remains of 9 people.
DNA analysis confirmed what many had long suspected. These were the bodies of Nicholas II, Alexandra, and 3 of their daughters.
But 2 children were missing, Alexei and one of the girls, either Anastasia or Maria.
The myth lived on. For now.
In 2007, a second grave was discovered nearby. This time, 2 more bodies, smaller, badly damaged, were found.
Advanced DNA testing confirmed it. The last missing Romanovs, Alexei and Maria, had been found.
The story of the lost princess was, in fact, a tragic myth. DNA evidence proved conclusively that Anna Anderson was not Anastasia, and that all 7 Romanovs, along with their loyal attendants, had perished in that basement room.
After a century of mystery, speculation, and imposters, the tragic and definitive story of the Romanov family was finally told.
And as for Anna Anderson, her DNA was tested after her death and showed no relation to the Romanovs. In actuality, she was a Polish factory worker named Franziska Szankowska.
After nearly a century of speculation, science finally confirmed what history had long obscured. The Romanov family had been murdered in its entirety that night in Yekaterinburg.
The tale of the missing princess was a myth born from confusion, fueled by grief, and kept alive by hope.
But the mystery still resonates. Maybe because it's not just a story of death, it's a story of what we want to believe, that innocence can escape brutality, that royalty might survive revolution, that fairy tales might be real.
In the end, the Romanovs didn't just lose a throne. They became ghosts of a vanished world, symbols of a past too opulent, too fragile, and too tragic to last.
Thanks for joining us on The Curious Past. If you found this story fascinating, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's strangest tales.
Remember, history doesn't whisper, it haunts. Until next time, stay curious.